Well, what's up, everybody? So as you can see, I'm here in the back of my truck and I'm doing some camping this evening, and I just wanted to do a little video going over my 5 pros of truck camping. This is something that's becoming a bit more popular lately as RVs continue to get bigger. I know there's definitely some smaller stuff coming out on the market, but the pricing points of those things are so much higher than what you could get into something like this for. That's part of the pros of this also, but we'll go over it. To start with, I would say that my #1 pro of truck camping is the simplicity of it. Now, I've done some work to this as far as like curtain rods and curtains. It's got the bed rug, and I built this bed, but you can basically do whatever you want with it. You don't have to get carpet, you don't have to put curtains in it, you don't have to do anything like that. You could literally just lay a sleeping bag on the floor and camp out in the back of this thing. So it's really kind of up to you what you want to do with it. And part of that simplicity is also that you can buy something like this for every make of truck on the market. And so whether you've got a big truck or a small truck, whatever vehicle you already have, you can turn into a camper. You don't have to acquire something else to do that, but you can find them relatively cheap used. So it's a great option to get out of a tent. And along with that simplicity of it, you can also add space. You could add a roof rack. I do have a roof rack that I carry my kayak around, so you don't entirely lose the space if you're camping in the back. And once again, you could load whatever you want in here prior to getting to your campsite and setting up. There's plenty of times where I have a kayak in here. We have bigger coolers. If I have another bed exactly like this one that goes on the other side. There is still a gap in between. So you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You could add a rooftop tent if you wanted to make this, depending on how many passengers you have. We can, my wife and I can comfortably sleep in the back here, the two of us. So if you had a rooftop tent, you could sleep up there. There could be 2 people down here. You could turn it into 4 to 6 people, depending on the size of the tent that you have. So pro #2 is that you can do this cheap. Whether, new toppers can be fairly expensive, but you can find these things on Craigslist oftentimes for, $100, $200. If you have a white 6.5-foot bed truck like I do, it's like a work truck. So there's toppers everywhere. They're easy to come by, and you don't have to buy something that's the same color as your vehicle. You can have it painted, you can do anything like that, and you can get it fiberglass or aluminum or whatever you want. But you can get into this very cheap. In fact, you can buy a topper cheaper than you can buy a lot of tents these days. Along with being cheap like that, it's cheaper than any RV on the market, yet it gets you out of that tent or out of sleeping on the ground, which is really why I upgraded to this. I've tent camped for a long time, and I was just getting tired of wet tents and sleeping on the ground. So, and it's cheap to operate. You don't have to have any extra insurance or anything like that that you would have associated with an RV or a trailer or anything like that. So it's a lot cheaper to use than it would be to drag a trailer around with your truck, because your gas mileage is going to decrease even further. So price point of this to get out of a tent is very good. So it's an amazing option. I don't know why there aren't more people doing it. I understand that there are space limitations if you have kids and things like that, but you can get topper. You can get a taller topper if you want to. You can get hard side cab overs that are still just a bolt-on topper, not a full-on slide-in camper. I mean, the possibilities out there for something like this are pretty much endless. So #3 on the list is that you can go anywhere with something like this. There's a lot of campsites, if you're in the mountain area, that there's length restrictions to get into the campsites. If you have a trailer over a certain length, if you're driving something like a truck and a camper trailer, there's length restrictions. So there might not be places that you can go to if you have, a 30-foot trailer. Same thing with some of the big Class A RVs. Some of those are just too big to get into spaces. And with a truck like this is just an extended cab, 6 3/4 foot bed, I believe it is. You could take this thing anywhere. You can take it down any trail you want to. There hasn't been anywhere that I've liked to go that I couldn't go with this thing, other than getting stuck sometimes, but that's usually for my own stupidity. And then going along with that, being able to take it anywhere, is you can pretty much camp anywhere. I mean, campsites, you can camp in a parking lot. You're not going to draw a lot of attention to yourself. So boondocking is high up on the list. Once again, this is a white truck, so it looks just like, 99% of the work trucks out on the roads today. Most of the time those things are white, so it's pretty inconspicuous, which is also something that I like about it. It doesn't draw a lot of attention. If you're driving around in a big RV, you're not going to be able to just pull over on the side of the road in town somewhere, park, and camp out. You're going to get a lot of crazy looks. So you can kind of do anything you want with something like this, which is really nice. Part of that is also that it's four-wheel drive. Finding a four-wheel drive driving RV, there are some on the market, but they are incredibly expensive. I believe right now, and I could be wrong, but I think Mercedes is the only one that's producing a 4x4 van. And then there's some conversion kits for other things, but if you want a 4x4 camper, you have to basically start with a truck body. Now you could add a slide in, you could put a flatbed on and put, you know, something different like that on, you know, a flatbed truck camper if you wanted to do something like that. But this is a great option, and you have factory four-wheel drive, so it increases your ability to go different places. Pro number 4 for me is the versatility of it. I have it set up for camping now, but you know, over the winter I had all this stuff out, and I had my ice shack in here for ice fishing. It doesn't look incredibly tall, but I've transported washers and dryers back here with the topper on. This is slightly higher than cab height, but you can basically you can still pretty much use it 100% as a truck. Obviously, if you're loading some really tall items in there, you need to take the topper off, and I have taken the topper off to move motorcycles around. I took it off for one winter to do snow removal, just so I could easily get things in and out of the back of the truck, like snow blowers and things like that. And being a fiberglass topper, it's not that heavy. It was easy to take it off with 2 people. So you have the ability to kind of do whatever you want with it, as opposed to a slide-in style truck camper. Yes, you can remove those, but there's a lot more work that goes into it. Right now, all I got to do is just drop the tailgate and I can throw stuff in here. This bed is completely removable, and I'll link a video down to more of the setup of the camper that you guys, if you guys want to check that out, so you can see the bed and the curtains and things like that. So the versatility of it is great. You can still use your truck as a truck, but within, you know, just throwing a couple items in the back, you have a camper also. Another point on the versatility of it is that if you're driving something like this and sleeping in the back, then you're not pulling a travel trailer around, and that opens up the opportunity for more things. Now you can get a travel trailer that's a toy hauler, and you could throw four-wheelers and stuff in the back of that, but you could easily drag a little trailer around, have four-wheelers, you can have a boat, you can do anything you want at that point. And that was one of the big attractions for me to a truck camper, was the ability to still tow something. I would like to get a boat, so having the option to do that and not having to use a big RV style camper to drag that around is great. You can still pull doubles in some states. That's just something that I have no desire to do. So having an all-in-one unit like this that I can still pull a trailer with was a big selling point for me. So number 5 on the list is the ability to stay warm and stay dry. I was really tired of sleeping in a tent, like I'd mentioned. Packing a tent up wet in the morning is never something that's fun to do. And I know there's a lot of people like me that say, oh, well, I'll take it out when I get home and let it dry out, and that never happens. So like this, it's dry inside. I don't have any issues with water coming in. So if it starts raining outside, I can come in here. I don't have to worry about water coming through the tent. We're not sleeping on the ground in a puddle of mud or anything like that. So that was a big part of it. I've got some Reflectix on the windows, which there's also a video about that. I have pieces for the front and rear windows, along with the carpet on the topper itself and the bed rug. It can stay incredibly warm in here. I do run, if I'm at a campsite with electricity, I will run a small portable heater in here with a thermostat. If I don't have electricity, you can run a small Mr. Buddy heater, and those things have low oxygen shutoffs. I mean, you should still have a detector for that if there's something you're worried about, but I don't leave it run. Usually I've got the window open. The window's open right now. I'm sitting back here and the window's open. It's only about 40 degrees, but I do have the little heater down there, so I can stay warm with the window open and have good ventilation. And you're not sleeping on the ground, right on the cold ground, so that's also great. And it's easier to transport a nice mattress, so you can stay warm and dry, you can stay safe. You don't have to worry about wildlife as much if you're in places that have bears and things like that. I've stayed in Montana and Wyoming with this thing in areas where there are bears, Yellowstone, things like that. So, you know, if there's bear boxes and stuff like that, then it's something that you need to worry about. And you can lock yourself in the back here. I'm sure if there was a really big angry bear, he could probably get in through the windows if he tried hard enough, but it's nothing like a tent. They're not going to get in there as easy as they would like that. So there's some safety to it. It is a bit difficult to lock this topper from the back, but I can do it, and that'll be another video. I'll go over that kind of stuff for you guys. But staying warm, dry, and safe. So part of staying warm is if you're in this as opposed to a tent, it's a lot easier to camp earlier in the season or later into the season or through winter. You can winter camp. You can camp in a tent year round if that's something that you're into. There's plenty of people that run wood stoves and things like that in their tents. But this is just a really easy option to stay warm and to be able to get out earlier in the year. It's very early in the camping season this year, and there's nobody here. There are few campers here, and there is no one else here that is in a tent. Everybody is in driving RVs. And of course the low tonight is about 28 degrees. So I can understand why there isn't anybody here in a tent right now. But that's one of the great options. It gets you out earlier and you can kind of avoid those summer crowds. The spot that I'm currently camped at right now is incredibly busy during the summer. In fact, most times you cannot get a campsite here. And right now I had my pick of wherever I wanted to be because there's basically nobody here. That guys is my 5 pros to truck camping. If there's anything that you can think of that you believe is a better pro, drop it down in the comments below and let me know. If this is something that you're thinking about doing, I would definitely say give it a shot. It's a great way to get out and to be able to do things, and it's quick, it's easy, and you can go anywhere, like I said. So that's going to wrap this video up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next adventure, guys. I'll see you in a bit.